Hey guys, it's Home Expo here, and today we're going to talk about some things that you need to know before buying the game, The Isle. To start this video, we're going to be talking about what The Isle is and what the game is about. The Isle is a fiction-based dinosaur survival game that can either load in sandbox or in survival mode, which all takes time to perfect. But one thing you notice is that The Isle has a huge toxic community, which means it's not as fun as you think it will be. When you're playing The Isle, it's good to be cautious and aware that people will suddenly attack you, and it's called targeting. Whether you like it or not, this is 100% qualified, in my opinion, to be the 100% thing we need to list first. And once I've recently heard, well, not recently, it's called targeting. To explain more about target, or aka targeting is where a group of people or just one person who could be more skilled than you is attacking you multiple times. And not just multiple, until you rage quit the game. In my opinion, you will most certainly have to buy the game yourself to find out what targeting is. If you decide to, I wouldn't start going on to normal servers that have a lot of people, and especially if it's sandbox. And to be honest, it's too hard to explain what target or targeting is. It's kinda hard to explain. Now that we got targeting dealt with, we can now go over what your survival skills have in mind. To learn your survival skills, it's best that you would start out with a server with not as many people, just as I said with targeting. AKA like Icelandicta, you might not want to go on those because they have a lot of people, and it's not going to be easy for you. Speaking of survival, if you're a beginner, it's best to go onto a server that is friendly, you're not allowed to kill or hurt somebody unless it's AI. Again, speaking of survival, the growth on survival is horrendous. It takes hours to grow, and it can take almost days. The thing is that you need to be very cautious, because if you was to die, you cannot get back and respawn. You have to restart, and you can't respawn if you've already chose your dinosaur. The Isle survival takes a lot of time to perfect, just like any sport, artwork, and coding. Sometimes you might rage quit, because rage quitting is a very common thing around here, especially around gamers. Gamers who are streamers have rage quit before, and if you was to watch their channel, you know what I mean. Speaking of rage quitting, one thing you need to know is your water and food. Food and water is an important notice in survival, and it could be the same in sandbox, but we'll get to that here in a minute. It's best to stay hydrated more than you are food, but the same way in real life. And the thing is that the game does hydrate and food out quickly. Food out. Well, you know what I mean. It does starve and dehydrate you quickly if you don't think fast. So you better go ahead and get some AI and some water, and or be close to them before you start actually playing the game. This is important because water and food are one of the best opportunities to live on in the Isle survival. If you don't, you're going to die and you're basically going to rage quit. Another important notice are your sounds and the meaning of them. You have 4 triggers that input sounds into your game: broadcast, threaten, friendly, and help. These sounds indicate what you are trying to say without texting, and if you're using a PC, hit F on your keyboard and it should automatically make a sound, and if you're typing, the sound plays when you hit enter. You hit 1 on your keyboard, it will broadcast, which is the sound that I was talking about earlier. This indicates a roaring sound that happens if you want to do victory roar, but you do need to be cautious, because when you do this, it echoes all around the survival map, and it will alert other players to your location. Friendly, when you hit 2 on your keyboard, then it'll make a friendly call that indicates that you are nice and are not meaning no harm to the other player. And this is a good way to show, well, it's the same way you do when you're talking to somebody in a greeting and friendly manner. You should do it to other players if you don't mean no harm to them. Speaking of that, threaten, for a fact, is when you do mean harm to something, or you want to a player, or you either want to 1v1 them, which 1v1 means you want to do an on-and-on battle to somebody sololy, and so nobody can interfere with you. And if you do this, then you're basically meaning no harm to them. You're just playing the game normally. Now, the last call on our list today is help call. You do this either when you need to retreat from a battle or you are trying to escape something. It could alert others to your destination, but I'm not fully sure. And since we've covered over that sound, or roar or whatever, we just got one more step with survival, and we will move on to another topic. Now that we've covered the most of the basic steps of survival, let's go ahead and talk about the last step of survival that I have in mind. The isle survival can be difficult, and sometimes it's hard to blend in. When you are trying to blend in, you might want to change your skin so that you can blend in with things better. Not to mention, change your isle skin or whatever dinosaur skin. What you do is there should be a selection full of colors. They are not colorful colors, but they are natural colors that you can use to blend into your surroundings. Think of a real object that you could blend in with in nature that would be good to blend in when somebody's trying to find you. For example, maybe you can use darker colors to blend in with trees, or medium colors to blend in with rocks, and lighter colors to blend in with sand. When doing this, still remain aware of your surroundings. I am not 100% guaranteed, or neither is all of you 100% guaranteed, that you're going to be able or not be able to be found, even if you're blending in well with something. Now that we've covered survival, well, like I said before, we will get to sandbox. And sandbox, minus targeting, since we've already went over targeting, we will mention what sandbox really is. Sandbox is actually a map that is a test map looking thing. Well, looking map. And you can either practice your fighting skills or get targeted, or you can just chill out and have fun. But still be aware, because somebody will definitely probably come up and attack you, regardless whatever mode you're in. That's basically it for today. Thanks for watching. Love your Wolfies. Bye.